Welcome to the Secret Stash.
That's super secret.
And this is the only show that tracks down the local people behind the places and things we love.
I'm going to kick it off with my favorite thing ever.
Then goes deep to reveal the best kept secrets behind them all.
Why are we talking to people? Let them know. Shout at the rooftops. This is great.
And leave you with a stash of stories and offers you'll only find here. Now, here's your host, Jesse Ibañez.
Secret agent man, secret agent man. They've given you a number and taken away your name.
What's happening, Ray Luciites, Boomer Brain Trusters? I'm the secret agent man, Jesse Ibañez, co-founder of the Greenhouse Group, and you are in the stash, baby. We got the coolest local people doing the coolest local things, revealing San Diego's best kept secrets and the stories of the people behind them. And in the studio today, just in time for your New Year's resolutions, we got San Diego Athletics in the house. What's up, you guys?
Hello. All right.
And I'm flanked in here in studio first by my man, Anders Varner, owner of San Diego Athletics. Say what's up, my man.
How we doing?
Happy to have you in the studio today. Yeah. Your partner in crime, your yin to your yang, your BFF, Bryan Boorstein, owner also, San Diego Athletics.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
And we got some special guests also in the house today. By the name of Bob Manning, who we're going to talk about later, but you may know him because he is the big, bad booyah from his own company, True Med Systems. What's up, Bob?
Hey, Jesse. Thanks for having me today. It's good to be here.
You bet, man. Looking forward to hearing about you. And I know you done heard about some Jenn Ryan because she's kind of like the person who her name precedes herself. But thank you for being in the studio today, Jenn Ryan. Jenn Ryan, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Jesse. Thanks for having me.
You bet,
Jen
you
and
bet.
Juice, anyone?
But you just heard, I think, probably the most important guy in the house today. Why? Because this is our man, show favorite E-Man from Delush, and he is the gentleman who fuels the next hour. So, my man E-Man, what you got rocking for us today?
My man, I don't even think you can call me E-Man anymore. I'm like Sir Lancelot because I'm about to get medieval up in here. Check it out. Today, I brought the Delush. It is the Mecca. It's a Frappuccino on steroids. Seriously, I got Howard Schultz on the other line. The other thing is...
hold please.
How much a year?
Yeah.
Okay. So at the end of the day, this drink will do the following. It has vanilla ice cream, 3 shots of espresso. I hyped it up just for you guys. Vanilla powder. It's redonkulous. So feel free. Also, the coffee is made from Cafe Moto. So this is the real premium Mecca stuff. Check us out at delush.com.
Yeah, you betcha. And also those guys locally as well, globally. But your spot you're holding down, it's up at UCSD, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm like the military on that one, dog.
And where is that spot, too?
This is inside the Price Center.
That's what I thought. Yep.
Yeah, we're open from 8 a.m., but we'll open up for you if you get there at 6:30. It's all good. We're open from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.
I appreciate it, man. I'm already kind of feeling the effects of the high. This stuff is kicking, man. What's that little juice along the bottom? Is that some caramel I'm seeing?
No, that's a little gin in there. I meant the drink.
Got it. There's no segue for that, man. There's no segue whatsoever. That's E-Man for you. E-Man, ladies and gentlemen. You're just the segue buster for E-Man.
Oh, man. Buyer beware.
But listen, this is going to be the one about cracking the code on the New Year's resolution myth with a smack to your I'm going to lose 10 pounds face. Check this out. I checked this out. You guys check this out. Statistic Brain, which I know you guys, that's a site you all follow, right?
Totally.
Reported that the #1 resolution for 2015 is, any guesses?
Lose weight.
Oh my God, you guys are so well read.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Lose weight, right? Here's the more important part. The percentage of people who actually achieve said resolution. Okay? So they broke it up into 2 ages because older people suck more than younger people apparently at this. In your 20s and up, 39% actually achieve this as their New Year's resolution. I wonder how many people are actually lying about that. But if you're 50 and older, it drops down to a staggeringly low 14%.
Wow.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
we're here.
Your response, Guru Anders.
Yeah, I guess I did not know the numbers on all of this, but yeah, it's a big problem that we see not just in January, but throughout the year. And why do some people make it work? Why do some people fail very quickly? Kind of what's the difference between these two? And this is one of the things that Brian and I worked really hard on, and creating this kind of purpose-driven approach to why we do things. And I don't know, I guess over the years we've kind of put together this plan, and not only is it a plan, but we have somebody here that has followed and tested this out and has become the poster child for why we exist here.
God, if only that person had the time to come in and share their story today.
Mr. Bob Manning.
No, but you said something, though, that was critical, and I want you to loop back on it, if I might. Purpose-based. So describe that to me. What does that mean?
Well, so many people show up and they say, just like they're one thing awesome about a New Year's resolution is it really supplies this, like, what do I want to have happen? I want to lose weight. Okay, well, I'd like to drive a Ferrari, and I'd also like to do this stuff, but why does it not happen? Well, we need to focus on a little bit more than just the outcome of what's going on and the processes involved, and how do we get from point A to point B, and what are the steps that will get us there? If you're looking to get into better shape, you should probably find a coach that has that information and is able to get you there, because it's not just some show up, I'm going to do my New Year's resolution and I'm going to lose 15 pounds and it's going to stay off forever. There has to be a more emotionally lifestyle-driven approach to what's going on. And that's what we've kind of been trying out.
I mean, if only there was a world-class coach close by you, Anders, that could put together thoughts like that. I mean,
said program.
Brian.
Yeah.
Shameless plug here as the millionaire lights shine down on you. What is it, though, that makes that stat so? You guys, in my humble opinion, have cracked the code. So maybe you take a half step back and share a little bit about why you guys are even in the studio today as experts talking about this, and then what that is for you guys that has made that not true for your group.
Yeah, we've developed a great community and a process to kind of make this whole thing work. And Anders touched on it briefly in the beginning when he was saying that, like, you can't just look at the end result. And that's what people do is they're like, I'm going to achieve this, and they have no clue how to get there. And it's the same thing with people's understanding of diet and nutrition in this country. People don't know that going out and eating a breakfast of cereal and milk and a glass of orange juice isn't like the right way to do it. Like, sure, that's probably better than eating like 7 Pop-Tarts, but like,
it depends on your goals, though, right?
There's still a better way. Yeah, I mean, if your goal is
what
lose
Anders
weight,
was saying.
if your goal is lose weight, which seems to be the New Year's resolution, right? Yeah. Then there has to be a process in place as how to get there. And what we do at San Diego Athletics is we have all the experts, either between Anders and I or between our coaches and our staff, that we have a nutritionist and the programming and the motivation. The motivation side is huge. Having somebody there that it believes in your goals and is there with you step by step the whole way to make sure that you don't just focus on the end goal, but that you understand the process that occurs along the way. And you really don't even have to look any further than New Year's Day, when I wake up in the morning, and we always go to the bar New Year's Day because my resolution is not to lose weight. And so we always go to the bar and we hang out and we go drinking. Well, on my way to the bar, there's about 1,700 people out there jogging. And the form in which they jog,
brand new gear, brand new shoes,
right. But they're so committed, right? They're like, this is the year I'm jogging every day, right?
And God bless them, because for every one you see out in the street, there's 20 that didn't even leave the house.
Yeah, but tomorrow's the day.
Tomorrow, I'm going to drink today. Right. Tomorrow, I'll start jogging.
But then here's the big problem, though, is like, it's great that they have the motivation, but because they probably haven't ran for the last year, since January 2nd, the previous year, their running form is terrible. So come January 5th, they're injured and they're like, oh, my knees hurt, my ankles hurt.
I tried.
I'll do it again next year. 360 days. I got this. You know.
Yeah.
So you have to you can't just do it. You have to understand the right way to do it so that you can stay injury free and reap the majority of the benefits from what you're trying to achieve.
Now, you alluded to something, and I want to try to pretend like I have just heard about you guys for the first time, which is not true for me personally. But you created a box earlier for us labeled San Diego Athletics, okay? So how would you compare or contrast that from all the other empirical options that are out there?
Well, San Diego Athletics is a culmination of Anders and I's collective 35 years of fitness experience. It goes beyond CrossFit, but is based in CrossFit.
Okay, so CrossFit's a part of it. Okay.
CrossFit's definitely a part of it.
Now, if someone hasn't heard of CrossFit, what's that?
CrossFit is high-intensity exercise, gymnastics, weightlifting, cardiovascular activity performed in a circuit-style training program, and the goal is to just kind of keep moving and push your body to new limits.
Okay, so super high intensity. Okay, that's CrossFit. That's one. What else?
We have just started very successfully a bodybuilding program for the last 3 months, and this is basically just a standard strength and conditioning program that maybe is what most people read about in Muscle and Fitness or any sort of magazine, but we've kind of tailored it and taken all the great benefits of the CrossFit program, which are a community experience and being able to turn the music up really loud and work out with other people with the same goals that you have. So we've taken that part of CrossFit and incorporated it into a bodybuilding style structure where we focus on specific body parts, and not all of, but part of the goal becomes aesthetics over performance.
So kind of like the quintessential like Arnold Schwarzenegger pumped up movie or whatever in the 80s, like dudes posing and pumping iron, thank you, in the 80s, sighting of sorts.
And that's really one of the reasons, if you watch any of those movies with those guys, like there's a massive community in those gyms that those people train together, and that's why they're successful. They're not just going and doing that every day by themselves. Like, they have to be around people and have to be around people with the same goals.
Okay, so you grabbed the syringe, you threw it under the microscope, you extracted the awesomeness of CrossFit. No, right. And then you applied kind of an old school product and say, hey, everybody loves them some weights to throw around because, come on, you like looking good with your shirt off, right? I mean, isn't that the most common denominator of any kid between 18 and 35 in San Diego County?
Yep.
35, apparently, you just give up. you threw mail in at that point in time. Okay, so I heard you say CrossFit. Okay, thank you for explaining that. Bodybuilding, that's pretty self-explanatory. That's been around since the beginning of the age. Okay, then what?
We also have a sweat class, which is kind of a high-intensity cardiovascularly based boot camp class.
Okay,
and
like in a hot room, like yoga, or what?
No. This is basically kind of a cardiovascular based version of a CrossFit workout, but it leaves out the scary aspect of all the barbells and heavy weights that CrossFit utilizes.
Aha. Okay.
So we incorporate primarily body weight movements and lots of cardiovascular activity, whether it's biking, rowing, running. Things along those lines, and the goal of the class is kind of just to sweat and move using your body weight and cardiovascular movements for about 30 to 40 minutes.
So CrossFit's kind of like the blend of the two. It's kind of the overall kind of one. Then you got the grunter, the grunting of the body, and then you've got the winder and the lungs of the sweat.
Right.
Got you so far?
There you go.
Okay, what am I missing now?
The shred class.
Ooh.
Yeah,
so
sounds fancy.
All these cool marketing names here.
Yeah.
What's the shred class?
The shred is a class designed by one of our coaches, Greg Kuchan, and he is an avid surfer, as you may have guessed. So shred kind of relates into the surfing thing. And
so fitness and surfing? Explain that.
Totally. He designs his classes for the shred to essentially incorporate elements that are going to help you become a more proficient surfer. Balance, agility, coordination, power. Yeah, so every Tuesday at every Thursday at 7 p.m. Yep. Every Thursday at 7 p.m. Greg runs this shred class, and it's been
so in the
popular.
twilight. What are you out in front of Capri with the lights at 7 p.m.?
This takes place in the gym.
Oh, okay.
It's not in the water.
It's not in the water.
It's basically using body weight and weightlifting movements to become a more proficient surfer.
Bingo. Okay, man. Anything else?
Gymnastics.
Yeah, we have a gymnastics class.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Lindsay Renteria. And if anybody's ever seen her try and walk on her hands or get on some rings, you would want to learn from her. Jenn Ryan, who we'll talk to later, runs a skills and drills class. And as we'll learn later as well, she's really good at this stuff. and takes a lot of pride in what she does. And her class really is just this culmination of the extra effort and work that she puts into her own training and is able to kind of teach people the small nuances of making that connection between, like, I'm not just squatting, or I'm not just doing a clean and jerk, or I'm not just snatching. Like, here's the small pieces that make this much easier and really shines a light on what sets you from standard athlete to here's the little pieces on top. Wow.
And what's coming up for me, you just rattled off like 4 or 5 words I don't know if I've ever even heard of before. But that's all within the indoctrination of the CrossFit thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, those right. So she kind of like shines a really intense light in on the subtlety of the movements to kind of get you past sticking points. Like you get it, you know what to do, but you're not good at it yet.
Exactly.
Skills and drills. And then the gymnastics is kind of like what, flexibility, general weight training, body weight training, stuff like that?
Yeah, it's body weight coordination and agility, utilizing rings and bars and being upside down and just kind of being a little kid on a playground.
Yeah, there's a lot of just general movement in there. Like, when was the last time an adult did a forward roll? Yeah.
Not this adult.
Yeah. Whatever, a backwards roll.
I'm so old, I get dizzy if I get inverted nowadays.
Exactly. So what she does, and she does a really awesome job. I mean, she's had her own class here for 3 years now. And, yeah, I mean, she gets people upside down. She gets people on rings. She's getting them walking on their hands. And she takes a lot of pride in just making the everyman come out. And all of a sudden, you can do a handstand. Like, where does that come from?
So what's next? I guess rocket science for you guys in 2050. I don't know if you've left anything out. So listen, here's where we're going to go with this. By now, you guys can already tell, we've got a thriving group of folks that have a little bit to say about your New Year's resolution and how we're going to change that myth, smack it in the face around a little bit, and actually get you some results. So coming up, we're going to meet 2 people in the studio that have actually done this. They've done walk the walk. Their tongue and their mouth match the one in their shoe. And we're going to learn all about them. Secret Stash, baby, coming right back.
Here we go now. Where we going now? Where we going now? Give it away, give it away, give it away now.
Be sure to follow the show on Facebook at Jesse's Secret Stash and on Twitter at Follow the Stash.
I'm gonna love you.
You are listening to The Secret Stash with host Jesse Ibañez on ESPN Radio 1700.
What's happening, gang? We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us for your lunch hour, ESPN Radio 1700. It's a Secret Stash, baby, and you riding with us for your lunchtime. I want to get right back into where we left off, though, because we got a lot of really cool ground to cover in the house today. San Diego Athletics, what a treat for you and your New Year's resolution. They're going to smack it down, couple lefts, couple rights, and actually bust the myth of everybody who fails miserably at this and tell you how they have cracked the code and figured it out for their members. Anders Varner.
How we doing?
Owner of San Diego Athletics. Why don't you share with us a story that's near and dear to your heart?
Yeah, so it was early 2013? Middle of 2013, the guest that we have, Bob Manning.
October.
Was it October?
Yeah.
So you're back on your year and change. Walked in the door, and what has ensued over the last 14 months is now what every athlete that walks in the door goes through. And we take this very personal approach to getting people to where they want to go. And there was something when he walked in the door that I saw in myself, and we connected, had some really good conversations, and we just kind of had this idea of like, hey, let's put this single plan together. And I can kind of send this off to you and tell us where you were kind of mentally, physically. Where were you? What got you in the door and ready for some change?
Yeah, so my background is I was an athlete. I played college football. I even played a year in a semi-pro league, but that was a long time ago.
What position?
I was a center and a defensive end.
So you moved people around well.
Yes, I did.
Very good.
I really enjoyed hitting people hard.
Yeah. Bob, and you guys, for the radio, if you catch us in the rebroadcast of YouTube, you'll see the size of the man. Bob's not a small dude.
No.
But I'm actually a lot smaller than I was about a year ago. So, but over the years, I had been in shape, or at least I thought I was in shape. I look back now and I was never in shape. And I had ups and downs, like I think a lot of people. But I think the deal breaker for me was I had some injuries. I had a lot of life changes around 2006. And I just sort of completely fell out of the routine. And I put on a lot of weight. I really got terribly out of shape. In part because I couldn't work out, in part because there were other things going on in my life.
And how many of us can relate with that? I mean,
Sure.
Is it not? How much of it really is about momentum?
Absolutely, and the negative momentum is just as strong as positive momentum,
if not more so.
Right.
It's harder to be positive. It's easy to be negative.
It's really hard to fight gravity.
Yeah.
Especially when you hit your 40s, and for me, the change was. That summer, before I walked into CrossFit PB or San Diego Athletics, I ran into a buddy of mine that I hadn't seen in a while.
Yeah.
And he looked phenomenal. He looked better than I've seen him in many years. And I asked him, I said, what happened? What did you do? And he said, I've been doing CrossFit. And I said, what is CrossFit? Right? I had no idea.
Yeah.
I said, but whatever it is, I think that's what I need to do because I'd like to look like you. And so I got back. I couldn't do it right away, but October of 2013, I walked into the gym over at San Diego Athletics.
Now, Anders, what did you see when you walked in the gym?
Well, when he walked in, I mean, just within the first couple conversations, like there's moments in your life where you kind of hit these, hey, I could go the fitness route in my life, or I could stay having a couple beers every night and end up on a different path.
But you did something different with him and for him.
Yes, and what we did was we sat down and talked about his life and where are we going, and the way we always break these things down is a nutrition portion, the fitness, and a lifestyle portion. The fitness stuff's easy. This is what people think that we do and what the only thing we do. Where were you kind of physically in this? Like, what was the hardest part about getting that first 2 months out of the way?
Yeah, well, the first 2 months, the first day, right? so the first day is I think a great story because I'm about 10, 15 minutes into my first CrossFit light workout. So this isn't even a regular class. This is the light class. Jenn Ryan is the instructor, and I'm about ready to puke. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make a whole hour here. And so we're 15, 20 minutes into this, and Jen says to the class, all right, that was a terrific warm-up. And that was sort of a realization of how far gone I was at that point. And I knew I was probably going to need a little extra help to get to where I wanted to be.
Nice. And then the fitness part is really easy for us because I know when you show up every day. And then we really just got into some good nutrition with him. And what we try and do with everyone is just simplify all this stuff. When you get on the internet, there's so much stuff thrown at you. What's right? What's wrong? And we kind of just put a plan together. Get rid of the sugar. And I think that's when we really started to see things kick in.
Yeah, the first couple months was really focused on just mastering some basic movements and really to get moving again, which I hadn't been able to do in a long time. And once we started to get a comfort level there, we started attacking the nutrition side. And, what was really neat was that Anders took an interest in me. And it really personalized it for me. And instead of feeling like I was by myself and on my own, right, now it wasn't just about letting myself down. Right now I had someone else that I could potentially let down as well, and I didn't want to do that.
And what's coming up for me is I'm thinking back to, when maybe I went to another one of the big box places. I think the extent of my interaction with any of the management was, what plan of these three are you paying for, and do you want to pay for personal training? Yeah. Right? No one ever talked to me about fitness. No one ever talked to me about my real goals. No one ever talked to me about movement or flexibility, right? So is that kind of what you're talking about when you say purpose?
Yeah, and I think that plays really well into the third portion of kind of which brings all of this together is the lifestyle side of, okay, we're eating well, we're training now flexibility is getting better, we're getting stronger, but what about my lifestyle? Like, do I have to only eat vegetables for the rest of my life? Like, this isn't that much fun. And I think this is where we kind of were able to wrap everything together, and we started focusing on not just exercise, but we started focusing on movement and going on walks at night. And I think that the big deal we made at 215 pounds was...
Right. So, well, when I walked in the door, I was at an all-time high for me of 272 pounds, and our goal was at 215 pounds that we would go surfing together on this board I had bought when I was about 215 pounds.
No way.
But after gaining all that weight, that board was no good. I'd sink it to the bottom of the ocean. So that was our goal, and we achieved that goal, and I surf that board all the time now.
Damn, nice work, man.
Big day.
It's a good story.
Man, there's so many different directions I could go with that. I want to first off thank you for sharing with me and anybody you're connecting with right now for the first time your story, because I can find myself and my truth in your vulnerability. And I appreciate that, man. Hopefully that found some ears the way it found mine, and then crept down into that part of all of us, which transmutes beautifully into action. So the table is set, my friend. I think after we come back right after this, we're gonna meet a local badass.
Yeah.
Because as this conversation progresses, what's coming up for me, guys, is that San Diego Athletics has the ability to find you where you're at. So the same place it found Bob Manning, who's coming right off of, hey, man, I need to get back up on this train. We got to move all the way over to who's driving the engine in the front, and Jenn Ryan, local star athlete. So coming right back, we're going to hear about what it's like to be on the other end of the spectrum and how San Diego Athletics can fit for you as well. We'll be right back.
Told me about jacuzzi, sounded interesting. So we jumped right in. All calls diverted to answer.
If you missed any of the show, check out the podcast at secretstashradio.com.
Put your hands in the air.
You're listening to The Secret Stash with host Jesse Ibañez on ESPN Radio 1700.
Mustard showed up.
What's happening, gang? You are riding with The Secret Stash. This is your noon hour, and what I would love Stash Nation to get a deeper, a clearer understanding on, while San Diego Athletics is in the house today, dropping all their infinite wisdom about all things body, spirit, and mind. We'll throw a little bit in there too.
There you go.
Is the spectrum of being able to identify where you see yourself. They got a solution for you. So we just met Bob Manning right before the break, and he was kind of broke, not financially, but kind of physically, and got him back up to his wonderful self. Bob, just nod your head right now. Best shape of your life?
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. But on the other end of the spectrum, we also have the ability to be able to meet you at your highest potential as well. Why? Because we're flanked in studio right now by my man Bryan Boorstein. And Bryan, I don't even know how I can come up with all this alphabet soup or say it correctly, but you're, what, CrossFit Level 2 certified. I think you're ACE, you said. You got the mobility certification. And then something I never heard of before, OPT, CCD.
CCP.
Whatever.
Yeah,
sounds like
one.
Some kind of... thing you're trying to take medication to get out of, but
I'm just trying to give you a bunch of letters so that it sounds like I know a lot.
Yeah. Brian knows. That's it. But we're just
All we want to do is pump you up.
Yes.
Jenn Ryan. Jenn Ryan.
That's my go-to.
Is Jenn? By the way, your voice got really deep there for a second.
You.
That was kind of weird. Is a CrossFit athlete herself. She's competed in the regional games over here. Done phenomenally well for herself. So she's on what you would say is the other end of the spectrum, right? The highest of the high of the athletes. So Bryan, what would you do for someone like that?
Jen's just a completely different animal over here. It's like honestly in complete contrast to the way that you would approach something with Bob, where the goal is, health and fitness and longevity. With Jenn, her goal is to dominate the world. And And so there's a whole new level of kind of training parameters that need to be applied. And many people would look at it and say that, you know, it's not sustainable, it's not long-term healthy, et cetera, et cetera. But you look at it as a sport, and you look at football players and their career lifespans, and any top sport that you play, there's going to be a series of injuries and setbacks. But, you know, the end goal is such that that you need to challenge your body, and you need to put yourself through these extreme measures so that you can continue to progress and take over the world.
So, Jenn, is that true for you? You look at this like a sport?
Absolutely. I don't know why else you would put yourself through everything. No, I definitely look at it as a sport. You do your training for it. You make a lot of sacrifices, you know, for that thing. So, yeah, it's definitely more of a sport to me because it's like competing in something, you know. So yeah, it's definitely more of a sport than just fitness. And I know that difference because I played sports from a very young age all the way through, you know, into college, playing on a club soccer team. And then I went the just fitness route of just doing spin class, doing every aerobic endurance activity you could think of, and lifting weights as well, you know, things like that. And that was really just more for, I guess, just fitness and like health and longevity, right? But now I approach everything I do in my, I guess, quote unquote, CrossFit training as a sport. So.
Yeah. So to kind of show the contrast between the two different styles of training, give everyone a kind of glimpse into the amount of training that you're doing on a daily and weekly basis.
Yeah. So now things have changed. I've got individualized programming. You know, I teetered around a little bit for a while with just, you know, doing gym wads, you know, working out with everyone else, and then doing things on my own.
A gym wad? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, you know, the gym workout. I'm sorry, the workout of the day in CrossFit. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, I would do that, and then some things on my own, like lifting or just going running. And then I would do things, you know, Brian programs for San Diego Athletics. He does all of the programming. So I've followed a lot of that as a group template. And I decided I wanted to get a little more serious about it. And for me, I've been doing this for a while. I'm a little bit of an older athlete. I wanted some things a little more individualized. So now my week kind of consists of 5, sometimes 6 days of training. There's at least one good day where I rest, and that active rest is actually 12 hours of running around in the ER as a nurse.
Did you just say 5 or 6 days of training?
Yeah. Damn! 3 of those are doubles. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's fun.
We talking about practice.
It's not the game. It's practice.
It's practice.
We talking about practice.
Not the game.
Yeah, it's practice.
So you practice 6 days a week for basically one games show a year.
How many times did you practice to have the baby that you guys just had?
Did you see what just happened there?
Jenn Ryan. We're talking about practice.
So, yeah. So there's a lot of practice that goes into like something really big.
Hold on, Jenn Ryan. That was
that inappropriate?
That was amazing.
Was that inappropriate?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Just hit a new level.
Sorry. So 3 days a week, there'll usually be a double day. The mornings, I'll get up and do some lifting. By lifting, I mean, could be anything from squatting to doing some Olympic lifting, clean and jerks and snatches, which basically the bar goes from ground to overhead.
Yeah, I think we get that you're doing a tremendous amount of work capacity. But Brian, what else is in that conversation?
So one of the most impressive things that I think I've noticed about what you've been able to achieve in the time that I've known you is, like, you know, in CrossFit, guys and girls, they scale weights. The girls use about 65% of the weight that the guys use.
And that's an incredibly important point, though, right? Because I've heard that people get scared, like, oh my God, I can't throw on that. No, you curtail it to each person's physical ability, do you not?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, that in CrossFit in general, yes. But as a competitive side of it, like, she is prescribed to use 65% of the weight that the guys use. Now, what they don't scale are the body weight movements. So if a guy is expected to do 100 pull-ups, Jenn is expected to do 100 pull-ups. There's something called a strict handstand push-up. And this is where you kick upside
Sounds
down.
fun already.
Yeah, right? You kick upside down onto the wall, and then without using any momentum, you have to lower yourself until your head touches the ground and push back up. Now, this seems like an exercise that a male would dominate a female on because we are naturally stronger in the upper body. Well, I can tell you for sure that Jenn Ryan is better at strict handstand push-ups than Anders or myself. And we've been doing this for a long time, and we're not, like, terrible at them. I mean, we're not great, but Jenn's fantastic at them. She has developed substantially in her ability to handle this type of upper body volume and strength. So how did you end up getting to a point where you're that strong and agile in your upper body?
Yeah, Jenn, when did you pass everybody else in the world up?
I don't think I've passed everybody else in the world up, but I do like going against Anders Varner when there's some handstand push-ups involved.
Victory.
I really started working on upper body push and pull movements, like pull-ups and then the upper body pushing, just because it comes up quite often. I did not grow up doing competitive gymnastics, only I call it advanced tumbling is what I did until I was in like 8th grade. So I didn't really develop a whole lot of upper body strength with the pushing and pulling. So I really went for it over the past couple of years. I've incorporated a lot of strict movements, heavy, pushing exercises overhead, and then a lot of weighted pull-ups.
So what else, Brian? I mean, crap this off for us.
Yeah, so, I mean, just to really kind of hammer in that point about the difference and the contrast between, the Bob Mannings and the Jenn Ryans, we don't have enough time to get to it, but Jenn's also got a nutritionist, and she's gone above and beyond and hired private weightlifting experts that specifically focus on one aspect of weightlifting as opposed to general fitness and CrossFit, so that she can develop and strengthen certain areas of her body and improve on weaknesses in her game. So she has literally gone above and beyond everything you could have expected to live the life that she's trying to exemplify, and it's very impressive.
So one thing that I learned on this segment is that Anders Varner is...
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Soft. Super soft.
Another thing that I learned is if you catch us on the YouTube rebroadcast, you'll get a chance to see Jenn Ryan. She's kind of a big deal. And today is sun's out, guns out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, show them that back.
Because truthfully, what we have had the opportunity of doing here in the studio today is bookending both ends of the spectrum, right? The cool thing about the common denominator between both Bob and Jenn is San Diego Athletics, because you guys have a solution for that person, this person, and everybody in between. So the table's set, gang, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the vision of where this is going. And you're not going to want to miss this. So you guys, thank you for hanging out in the stash. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
You gotta get your groove on before you go get paid. So tip up your cup and throw your hands up and let me hit a party.
Be sure to follow the show on Facebook at Jesse's Secret Stash and on Twitter at Follow the Stash.
When I met you in the summer.
Welcome back to the Secret Stash with host Jesse Ibañez on ESPN Radio 1700.
As the leaves turn brown.
Met you in the summer means you better get to work on January. Otherwise, you're going to be looking good in the summer because you're going to have your shirt on. You're going to be staying in your house in a van down by the river if you don't get your New Year's Eve goals intact. And that's what we're hanging out about today in the Stash Gang. And we got the answer. The answer is San Diego Athletics. Why? Because they're not just doing one modality. They're not just open up a gym and you go like over to the corner with your headphones on and shuffle some weight around and feel real cool. They got an entire solution to meet you exactly where you're at and get you from where you are to where you want to be. Anders Varner and Bryan Boorstein, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us,
so
man.
Why don't we start with you, Anders? You mentioned Bob earlier in the second segment. So what's next for Bob? Other than saving the world with his TrueMed solutions.
It's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
That would probably be goal number one, is to work on that professional life thing. But, it's 13 foot this weekend, so you got that new surfboard. You might as well see what's going on out there. Where this is kind of the next step in the process. Where do we go over the next year, and how do we... we've gotten it from point A to point B, and what's the next point B? Where do we go?
Because we don't end here.
Right. The first year, in my mind, was really laying the foundation from which to build.
Well said.
And I think with the help of these guys, I'm now in a position to take a longer-term view and what do I want to do and where can I take this? And it's really sort of fueled those competitive juices that I've always had, right? I was a competitive athlete for a long time, and that was always still somewhere inside me, and it's a lot closer to the surface now than it's been in many years. So I'd love to see at some point if I could actually try and qualify for the Masters division at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
That's my long-term goal, and I don't know if I'll achieve that or not, but it's a prize to keep an eye on and work towards, and I think that's the level I want to be, and if I can keep doing that, I'll be in a good place.
Solid work out of you, Bob Manning. Thank you for hanging out, brother. And I'm looking forward to rooting you on in the Masters.
Yeah, someday.
You got a little bit of time for that. You're not that old, are you?
Well, I'm 46 in 2 weeks.
Oh.
On the other end of the spectrum, we've got Jenn Ryan, which just by sitting next to her, by virtue of you guys being in proximity, you got a little bit more badass today, didn't you, Bob? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Brian, what's next for Jenn?
What is next for Jenn? That's probably a good question. I believe that she's going to continue trying to take over the world one workout at a time. And I know that she's really got everything kind of dialed in right now. Her training is good. She's injury-free. She's got her nutrition in order. And she's beating Anders on a daily basis. Yeah. Which is always good.
Really I'll save him the sound bite.
Yeah.
Jen, what's your goal for 2015?
I've got the OC Throwdown coming up in January. So I really hope to have an even better showing this year. I really want to take top 20 again in SoCal in the Open, so I can go to regionals. This year, I'd really like to go individual. I've chosen the past few years to go with teams. So if that's there, I'd love to try it. And then I just really, the biggest goal is just to continue to be a positive role model for all the women at our gym and just keep pushing them even harder, because I'm going to be done soon and I'm ready for them to dominate. So, yeah.
Wasn't Anders on your team last year?
Yeah, he's been on my team since I moved here.
We're gonna move on then. Actually, we're gonna move on.
It was a team.
He's always on my team. Always.
That's good. That's good. She saved you.
Yeah, there you go.
So, gentlemen, you got an opportunity right now to share with one person that you're inspiring with your message. So, what's next for San Diego Athletics?
The future of where we're going. It's just this more. Our big goal of what we do is just the scaling of personal training. Like, we really believe that we've gotten this thing to a place where we can sit down with every single person that walks in the door, give them purpose to their training, and not just, we can filter through all the junk that's out there and simplify this thing so that it's actually attainable. And what we really just like doing is connecting with people, finding out what drives them, and putting a plan together. I mean, we really enjoy watching the success happen, and that's why we show up every day.
Yeah, just to expand on that, I think the biggest thing that we try to focus on is finding a way to personalize group training. And if you can come into a class with 15 to 20 people and feel like the trainer is there and that you have a personal coach with you in a group environment, then we've accomplished our goal. And that's really where we see the future going.
Well, you guys have done nothing short of completely blown my doors away with what you've been able to create in a really short amount of time. The raving fan culture of your tribe and the results that you've been able to get them is nothing short of completely busting apart the myth of all of which plagues the fitness industry. Would you not agree with that?
Yes.
So if you are out there right now and you're thinking to yourself, you know what, man? I know those six-pack abs are sitting underneath there somewhere. I know they're there. I can feel them sometimes if I just squeeze my belly around a little bit. Or you're thinking to yourself, you know what, man, I would love to go out there and just get a personalized nutrition program that would finally match up with my fitness goals to make sure that 2015 will be the best year of my life. Then I would recommend that you go right now to SanDiegoAthletics.com, or you can even call them directly. And I know these two both pick up the phone. If that's easier for you, it's 858-246-7357. Again, that's 858-246-7357. I want to give a huge thank you to Anders Varner for hanging out with us today, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Anders Varner, Bryan Boorstein, thank you, brother, for your contributions. Bob Manning, ladies and gentlemen, and Jenn Ryan, the local badass athlete. I expect big things out of you this year, girl. I want to see you on the podium or top 20. And for the rest of us, I appreciate you guys hanging out in the stash. We'll be right back here next week, same bat time, same bat channel, and bringing to you the coolest local people, doing the coolest local things, and finding the people and the secrets behind them. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for listening to The Secret Stash. If you missed any of the show, check out the podcast at secretstashradio.com. And we'll be back next Tuesday at noon right here on ESPN Radio 1700.